Obscure City is a place where you can find many unique dangers. This is where she works, Cassandra Killjoy, paranormal private eye. Now a teenage girl's father has gone missing, and Killjoy believes that the city's enigmatic protector, the swordsman, is the key to finding him. So Killjoy must face many deadly dangers in her search for the swordsman. Available on Amazon.com.
Did you know that long before the Jason Momoa Aquaman movies, there was supposed to be a live-action Aquaman series? One that would have been the CW's first original live-action DC show, before Arrow. Unfortunately, that show was just not meant to be, and it has drifted out to sea as nothing more than one of the legends of fandom. Greetings fanboys and fangirls, I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and welcome to Legends of Fandom, where we talk about the fanboy films and shows that almost happened. Before I get going, I just want to thank all of you for requesting this video after the immensely positive reaction to the Wonder Woman video. So let's get going. As per usual, the origin of most of the live-action DC shows from this era begin with Smallville. More specifically, the Season 5 episode, Aqua, starring Reacher himself, Alan Ritchson, as Aquaman. Believe it or not, Aqua was the highest rated episode of Smallville Season 5. At the same time, the CW was desperately looking for original programming for their 2007 fall lineup. So, an Aquaman show was pitched, and the CW ordered a pilot. However, they didn't want Alan Ritchson to reprise his role as the King of the Seven Seas, because they wanted this to be an original series, and they didn't want anyone to think that it was a spin-off of Smallville. So the producers casted Will Toll in the titular role. But the head of programming of the CW didn't like that. So they replaced him with Justin Hartley, who was playing Green Arrow on Smallville at the time. So one actor from Smallville bad, but another actor from Smallville good? What? Also, it should be noted that Justin Hartley was also the top choice to play Oliver Queen on Arrow. So somebody at the CW really liked Justin Hartley. And thus, the pilot went into production, originally titled Mercy Reef, after the location where the show would take place. But it was then decided that that was also too similar to Smallville, and so they tentatively titled it Aquaman. And as soon as they did, the show immediately started to get a lot of buzz, as many believed that it was going to be more faithful to the source material, unlike Smallville. And many media outlets started to report on it as if the show was a sure deal. And now for the first really important question of this video. What would a live-action Aquaman series be like? Well, thanks to the fact that Warner Brothers commercially released the pilot, we have a really good idea. So our pilot begins 10 years in the past, where we meet a young Aquaman, aka Arthur Curry, going on a plane ride with his mother, Atlanta. All the while she chats with her husband and Arthur's adopted father, Tom Curry, over the CB radio, played by none other than Lou Diamond Phillips. Wow, now that is an excellent casting choice. Now, for those of you who don't know, this show uses Aquaman's post-crisis origin, which is as follows. Arthur was born Orin, the future king of the underwater city of Atlantis, to Queen Atlanta and a wizard named Atlan. But he was born with supernatural abilities that other Atlanteans don't have, such as super strength, the ability to breathe air, and to psychically communicate with the creatures of the sea. But the biggest no-no was that he was born with blonde hair, which in Atlantean culture is seen as a bad omen. So in order to save her baby from being killed, Queen Atlanta runs away with young Orin and successfully gets him to Mercy Reef, where Orin is found and adopted by lighthouse keeper Tom Curry, who renames him Arthur Curry. Now, in pre-crisis continuity, the New 52, and in the movies, Arthur is the biological son of Atlanta and Tom Curry. So for those of you that prefer that version of his origin, just know that it's 100% legitimate. Anywho, so the Currys have a lovely bonding moment while in mid-flight.
I held my breath in the water for almost 5 minutes.
Hey, that is incredible, kiddo. I swear you must be part fish.
I get it. When suddenly there's a disturbance, as huge energy beams shoot out of the ocean, knocking Atlanta's plane out of the sky. And I have to say, for a TV show that was made in the late 2000s, this looks awesome. As their plane sinks, Atlanta gives Arthur her magical seahorse necklace, calls him by his birth name, Orin, and uses her super strength to set him free. Young Arthur watches in horror as his mother sinks with the plane. All the while, she's attacked by a mysterious monster, and Arthur would sink with them, but he is rescued by a school of whales, which is yet another moment that looks amazing. Cut to the present. We find ourselves in Tempest Key, Florida, which, in the mythology of the show, is one of the points of the Bermuda Triangle. Here, we finally meet the adult version of our titular hero, played by Justin Hartley, as he receives an unpleasant early morning visit by the sheriff.
Morning, AC.
Nope. If I have one minor criticism of this pilot, is that most of the characters call Arthur AC. What's wrong with Arthur? It's a great name. I guess the producers thought that AC sounded cooler. Ugh. Well, you know what? I'm not calling him that. The sheriff is paying Arthur an early morning visit because last night someone released 5 dolphins from a water park called Neptune World, and Arthur is their prime suspect. Oh, come on, Sheriff. It's not like you have photographic evidence. Oh shit, he does. So Arthur goes to jail. Thankfully, his father is kind enough to bail him out. As they talk on their way out of the police station, we learn a few valuable pieces of exposition. For starters, in this show, they changed Tom Curry from a lighthouse keeper to a member of the Coast Guard, which is an excellent change as it explains from whom Arthur learned to be a hero. We also learn that Arthur has the potential to do whatever he wants with his life, but he stays in Tempest Key, working a dead-end job in hopes of finding out what the hell happened to his mother just off the coast. And on the subject of his dead-end job, Arthur works at a seaside restaurant and bar for his super hot best friend, Ava, who is his friend, confidant, and love interest all rolled into one. Ava is currently pissed because Arthur's constantly getting arrested is bad for business, to which Arthur candidly confesses that he released the dolphins due to some subconscious empathy that made him feel like they were calling to him. Now, this is usually the part where the hero's friend tells them that they're crazy and they just need to get back to work. But that is not what happens here. Ava knows that Arthur is not an idiot who commits crimes for fun, so she suggests to next time call Dolphin Rescue to investigate Neptune World, as opposed to breaking an entry and committing theft, to which Arthur agrees. Now that is a friend. And right when you thought that Arthur couldn't find a cooler friend than that, who's that Superfly motherfucker? That's right, the King of Cool is in this show as McCaffrey, a mysterious lighthouse keeper who's always nearby to impart words of wisdom.
If you look hard and long enough into the deep, something's going to start looking back.
He is so friggin' cool. Now, had this pilot gone to series, I honestly believe that McCaffrey would have been revealed to be Vulko. For those of you who don't know, Vulko is Aquaman's most trusted ally. He's like Alfred, Stick, and Q all rolled into one. And let's just say that Ving Rhames is an excellent choice to play that character. So, we cut to 25 miles off the coast of Tempest Key, where Tom rescues a John Doe that was found floating alone, with no signs of a shipwreck. Furthermore, the mysterious castaway is wearing the exact same necklace as his late wife, and has a message for Orin.
They're coming. Must warn Orin.
Meanwhile, the local naval base sends one of their pilots, Lieutenant Torres, to investigate the area and hopefully find out where the John Doe came from. Unknowns to Lieutenant Torres, Arthur is also at the scene swimming at super speed in hopes of also finding answers. When suddenly, the exact same energy that knocked Atlanta's plane out of the sky shoots out of the water and hits Lieutenant Torres' jet, making her crash. So Arthur has to divert from his investigation to save her. Cut to the hospital. Hours later, Lieutenant Torres wakes up to find Arthur at her bedside, there to make sure that she wakes up okay. On his way out, his magic necklace starts to glow, and it leads him to John Doe, who's also being treated at that hospital and recognizes Arthur.
Orin! They know you're here.
But before Arthur can get some answers, he is interrupted by Agent Brigman, who is part of Project Nautilus, a super secret government agency dedicated to investigating and covering up all the weird shit that happens at the Bermuda Triangle. Brigman removes all the evidence, including John Doe, and leaves Arthur with even more questions. But little do they know that a beautiful stranger is watching their every move. That's right, it's Adrianne Palicki, Wonder Woman, from the failed pilot. So that's 2 comic book based shows that this woman nearly starred in. She was supposed to star in a spin-off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. So that's 3 comic book based shows that she nearly starred in. This woman should be a Jeopardy question. Later that night, Arthur is about to feed some complimentary knuckle sandwiches to some tourists who captured and killed a marlin for fun when Ava stops him by reminding him that what they did is illegal and they can just call the authorities as opposed to committing assault and battery. Unfortunately, this doesn't fully quell Arthur's rage. What we need here is a beautiful distraction. And here she is, holy moly. Adrianne introduces herself as Nadia and inquires about Arthur's services as a deep-sea diving instructor. Arthur encourages her to sign up for lessons, but she insists that they go for a swim right now. Arthur responds the same way that any man would respond if Adrianne Palicki asked them to do anything. Okay. Cut to a very sexy swimming lesson. So Arthur and Nadia enjoy a midnight dip just off the coast of Mercy Reef. But it doesn't really seem like Nadia needed lessons.
Let me refresh your memory.
Oh my. Unfortunately, this is when this scene has a severe shift in tone. Oh my god! That monster looks awesome. So Nadia is in actuality a siren sent from Atlantis to kill Arthur. And it really seems like our hero is doomed. Who's that Superfly motherfucker? He is so freaking cool!
The only way to kill those scaly bitches is to nail them between the eyes.
Important plot point. So, after saving Arthur with his crossbow, so cool! McCaffrey reveals to Arthur his true origin. How Arthur is actually royalty, how it is his destiny to protect the 7 seas, and how they are both actually from Atlantis.
Atlantis. Yeah. Next time you're in Atlantis, could you say hi to Captain Nemo and the Little Mermaid for me?
Captain Nemo never used the Nautilus to travel to Atlantis, and the Little Mermaid is from Atlantica. What a dork! I will say that this line is hilarious, but for the wrong reason. As at this point in the story, Arthur is well aware of his superpowers. And he just met a siren. But Atlantis being real is where he draws the line? Come on. So it's not until McCaffrey calls him by his birth name, Orin, that he gets his attention. And convinces him that they need to hunt that siren before she hunts and kills them. So Arthur immediately tells Ava everything and advises her to clear out so she doesn't get caught in the crossfire while they're fighting Nadia. Now this is usually the part where the best friend says that there is no way that they're leaving and they're gonna stick around to help, therefore putting themselves in unnecessary danger. But that is not what happens here. Not only does Ava believe him, but she agrees to close down her restaurant and stay with her sister for the night. Now that is an awesome friend. Meanwhile, Nadia visits John Doe and kills him. So we will never know what was the message that he was intending to deliver to Arthur. Ugh. Agent Brigman finds the remains of John Doe and realizes that shit just got real. So he recruits the one and only person that he knows has survived the supernatural activity of the Bermuda Triangle, Lieutenant Torres, to basically be the Scully to his Mulder. But after she leaves to go think about his offer, it is revealed that Brigman has an ulterior motive for recruiting her, as there is a lady who disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle back in 1936 that looks exactly like her. What does that mean? Why wasn't this pilot picked up the series? I need more episodes. I need answers, damn it! Back at the restaurant, Arthur and Ava are closing up shop in preparation for the epic encounter with Nadia, when suddenly...
It's very funny, Eva.
No! Not the hot best friend who's actually cool! She then knocks out Arthur, and when he wakes, he discovers that he's back on his boat, that McCaffrey has been kidnapped along with him, and that Nadia's taking them back to Atlantis to be publicly executed. Arthur then brings up a really good question. Why doesn't Nadia just kill them there and then? To which McCaffrey has a really good answer. You see, in the past 10 years, Arthur has become a symbol of hope for the people of Atlantis, the long-lost king who will one day return and set things right. So by Nadia bringing them back to Atlantis and executing them publicly, it would destroy all hope. The good news is that this gives Arthur and McCaffrey time to figure out a way to save themselves. Like in the comics, Arthur draws his powers from the ocean. So if he's going to fight Nadia, he needs to get in the water. So after cutting their bonds with some broken glass, McCaffrey agrees to distract the she creature while Arthur sneaks into the water. This plan is partially successful. Ow! Luckily, Arthur made it to the drink and is fully powered up. Aquaman, king of the seven seas!
Not today!
I told you that was an important plot point. With Nadia defeated, our episode starts to wind down, with McCaffrey warning Arthur that there are bigger dangers to come and that they must prepare. Arthur eagerly agrees to start his training, only to find out that his training begins by reading Shakespeare's Henry IV.
When you said training, I thought you meant, wielding tridents and doing cool stuff in the water.
Yes, please. And so our pilot ends with Arthur accepting his role as the legendary protector of the seven seas. Will Tom ever find out about his son's true nature? Will Ava recover from her injuries? Will Brigman ever tell Torres why he truly recruited her? Will Arthur ever wear the orange shirt? Will people ever actually call him Aquaman? Will he ever acquire the trident of Poseidon? Will Aqualad, Mira, Topo, and Storm ever make an appearance? Unfortunately, we'll never know. And now for the second most important question of this video. Why didn't this happen? The answer is actually very simple. The CW just didn't pick up the show. Why? Nobody knows. The CW's lack of interest in this series has remained a mystery to this very day, especially since the reactions to the pilot were overwhelmingly positive. Hell, Warner Brothers was so proud of the pilot that they actually released it commercially on iTunes, where it became the most downloaded show of 2006. And it was also released as a bonus feature on the Justice League Crisis on Two Earths Blu-ray. And it was also available to watch on DC's short-lived streaming service, DC Universe. So while it might have been deemed unworthy of being a primetime series, it still received the love that it deserves. But what do you think? Are you happy that the CW went with Arrow instead and they reserved Aquaman for the film franchise? Or do you still wish they had picked up the Aquaman series? Let me know in the comments section below, as we have once again reached the end of this video. So, do you know of any fanboy films or shows that almost happened? Let me know at erod@inbox.com. And who knows, your suggestion might just end up being the topic of the next Legends of Fandom. Until then, I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster.